This is one of my favorite quotes. I probably say this at every workshop I ever do, and many times here I say this too. It's in chapter 8, but it's such a great section. It says, distractions of the ego may seem to interfere with your learning and may seem to interfere with everything that's going on in your life. It says, but the ego has no power to distract you unless you give it the power to do so. Did you know that? We give license to the ego because we think, oh, we don't know. To other people who say fearful or hateful things, we give our power to them because they're in a position of authority or they're in a position of strength, and we think, oh, they know. But they clearly don't. They're just like you and me. That's why it says in our wall of innocence, be innocent of judgment, unaware of anything good or bad that ever crossed your mind of anything, of anyone, not only them, but of yourself. There's a lot more wisdom going on inside of you than you know. It says here, the distractions, again, look at that sentence, distractions of the ego. That's the entire physical world we see, the Course would say, may seem to interfere with your learning. That's what Philip kind of said. Yeah, there's still stuff going on, but I know there's something going on underneath all this. That's what we have to stop looking at. We have to start looking at, because that's what undoes the ego when you look through it to the truth. It never wants you to look that closely. The ego doesn't have power unless you give it the power. The ego's voice, I love this, is a hallucination. You cannot expect it to say, hey, by the way, just so you know, I'm not real, right? No, it's never going to say that. It's going to act like it is. It's going to puff and bluster like it's so powerful it knows absolutely everything when it knows absolutely nothing. Don't fall for it. Yet you are not asked to dispel your hallucinations alone, and certainly not the ego that has a mighty power over us. You are merely asked to evaluate them in terms of their results to you. Do they give you the peace of God? Do they give you peace in this moment? Do they make you feel at peace? Do they make you feel supported and loved and comforted? I don't think so. You are merely asked to evaluate them in terms of their results to you. If you do not want them, what's going on in your world or in your life, on the basis of loss of peace, they will be removed from your mind. Look at that. How? For you. Not by you, but they will be removed from your mind for you. That's pretty powerful. You know, we just have to look. And the Course would say the ego only has the power that we give it. It can only survive by you giving it its attention. Sound familiar? A lot of the things of the world only have power because we've given them attention. We've given them our thoughts. We've given them our consciousness. You may think that you don't give the ego much power, but that's pretty subtle. It's very subtle. Watch it. If you dwell in fear, if you dwell in anger, if you dwell in attack, if you dwell in depression, if you dwell in hopelessness, then you give it power. You have to remember, every thought you make that is diminishing towards another person or towards yourself is really your way of giving the ego power. It's very subtle. And the ego is always pointing to the fact that you are separate, because the whole concept of the ego is that you are separate. The whole concept of the ego is that it's the concept of separation from you and your brother, from you and all the others out there, and the belief in separation from you and God. So that's all the ego is. It's not the Freudian id and ego and so forth. It can somewhat seem that way, but this is much more about you feeling separate from God, from any answer. That's what the ego is. And the opposite of your all-inclusive truth about yourself is going to be fear. And fear is any of those things we talked about. Fear is anything that diminishes you or diminishes another. So people who like to make diminishing statements about people are really coming from fear, which is weakness, which is separation. And when we join in that kind of chaos, then we declare ourselves weak and separate from one another. So anyway, think about that the next time you're wondering, well, where am I dwelling? Well, do you feel afraid? Do you feel limited? Do you feel incapable? Do you feel hopeless? Do you feel depressed? Do you get up every day and go, oh, same old world? Well, that's because you've decided to buy into the world of the ego.